Good day and welcome back to my channel. My name is Balisa Rasinyalo and this is episode 2 of Bridging Generational Gaps. Today I will be speaking specifically on millennials and understanding millennial culture. As I said last in my previous video, that they are the biggest represented group within the workplace. Therefore, I decided to have an episode just for them. Now, these millennials are said to be a little bit tough to manage, a little bit entitled, narcissistic, and lazy. But is it fair to conclude that they are all like this? Because they're not. So, I asked around. I asked baby boomers, people who have been in the company for a bit longer. They are aged between 55 to 75, how they feel about working with these younger millennials when they come to the companies. And how have things changed between how things were done back then and how they are done now? Some of the answers that I got were, they were taught to work very hard for what they have. And if you want something bad enough, you go out there and you get it. They only were able to pursue passion projects at a much later stage in life, when they had really cemented their careers and proven that they were able to do what they could do. But they were mostly driven by providing for their families and giving their children a much better life than what they had growing up. Then I posed the same question to millennials who, as we said in the previous video, are aged between the ages of 23 to 38. I asked them the same questions, but their answers differed slightly. A lot of them believe in doing what you love, that you only really excel when you do what makes you happy, do what you love, what you're passionate about. They have the chance to do these things. But on the other hand, we have a huge majority that feels pressure, that feels a lot of pressure to work extra hard to counteract the norms, to prove that they are not lazy, they are not entitled. Companies nowadays hire people on a contractual basis. Therefore, it makes it harder to find job stability and permanent employment. Now, these young millennials have to work to get that permanent position in the companies that baby boomers just got a lot easier. As a result of this factor and a lot of other factors, millennials these days are struggling with depression and a huge rate of people who are really unhappy. We have heard that they are very unhappy and that they struggle with mental illness. A lot of our younger people struggle with mental health issues. So I think that let's just really divulge into what causes these. If you go back to their childhood, you find that they are sometimes a victim of what I like to call failed parenting strategies, where they were given way too much by the same parents, baby boomers, who felt the need to really overcompensate for what they didn't have growing up. They were highly privileged. If sometimes a parent was in the school governing body and they were influential, they were able to give their children chances to be in the prefect body, in the A team. Sometimes they were given things that they didn't really have to work that hard for growing up. So it becomes very tricky when reality sets in and they have to really realize that they're not that special and that their parents sometimes can't really give them what they had, and that they can't actually just be given everything on a silver platter. They have to start actually working for it. So from a childhood of having everything and being given everything, having to go into the workplace and now have to prove yourself, these can be enough to just crush a young person, a millennial self-esteem coming into the workplace. It is critical for employers to be mindful of all of these social issues that the employees actually deal with, because they can actually now have a deeper understanding of the people that they work with and unpack their behaviors and where they actually stem from. There are also factors like social media, which has given people the ability to filter everything and pretend that life is perfect, to conceal their deepest insecurities and their fears. What is worse about social media is that it is highly addictive. And there's a chemical that is released called dopamine. And this chemical makes you feel good. Every time you get likes, you're trending, and you get new followers, this gives you a dopamine high. Dopamine is a chemical that has the same numbing effects, which is found in drugs and alcoholic substances, as well as gambling. But the difference is social media is unmonitored and it is available to people from a very, very young age. Younger children are being exposed to dopamine and getting this high. You'll find children in primary school have cell phones these days. They have Twitter accounts, they have TikTok, they have Instagram, and they have access to this dopamine addiction at a very young age. These social media addictions lead to dopamine addictions, which lead to no deep, actual, meaningful relationships, and therefore therefore people turn to these substances to get that happiness that they lack. Sometimes when we're lacking that fulfillment and that depression sinks in, you turn to things like social media that gives you that dopamine high because you don't feel too good about yourself. Now, as we know about addictions, they destroy relationships and they ruin lives. That's why you'll find that nowadays we have a drastic increase in things like drug overdoses, suicide rates, school dropouts because of issues of mental health and depression. Millennials grew up in a world of instant gratification. Everything has always been at their disposal. From things like online shopping, things like Netflix, we can binge on an entire series in one day. We don't have to wait an extra week to see the new episode of our favorite shows. But unfortunately, there is no app for job satisfaction. Basic life skills like patience, love, job fulfillment, love of life, confidence, all of these things take time. They take hard work. And corporates these days are very money driven. They care about short-term gains and money. And they don't really build you up for real job fulfillment and joy. It is the company's job to pick up the slack of society and do the right thing by their young employees. They are millennials. I encourage companies to help facilitate a culture of kindness, of acceptance, of love, and a lot of just really building up these weak characters that we can see coming into the workplace, because we see that these issues are starting now, but they will carry on for younger generations and it might actually be worse. So let's be mindful. Let's know who we're dealing with and how we can actually assist them. Thank you so much for listening to my video. I ask that you please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.